Hello, guys, and welcome to sportsbookreview.com. The football season has kicked off, and what a season it's shaping up to be. And we've had a look at how the teams are progressing, and now is that sort of last time, I think, to see if there's any value on those future markets. It is a long time to wait, but some of these bets do seem like money in the bank. So let's welcome a big man on campus and Martin Greener here to help us with our bets. First of all, Martin, congratulations. And baby number 2 has arrived. How are you doing?
Thanks, Nat. Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. I haven't slept a great deal, but I'm happy that he's here and he's healthy and safe. I've got 2 boys now, so I'm hoping for at least a 5-a-side team. But I've got a bit more work left in me.
Oh dear. All right. Big man. Obviously, we covered the Premier League futures in detail. For those who didn't see the video, head on over to our YouTube channel and go check that out. Flash joined us as well. You love the other leagues as well. Were you able to find some value that we can share?
Yeah, I think there's some value in some of the other leagues. Martin and I were talking before the show about Serie A and some of the other ones. I'm an open book, Natalie. I'm always willing to share anything I can find that has value. Yeah, looking forward to it. And I will say also, congratulations to Martin. I don't know if I'll ever get to that point, but if I do, hopefully it's all with you. And I'm still doing videos with all of you. You've taught me a great deal about soccer, and I'm sure now you'll teach me a great deal about parenting as well.
Oh, hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to learn with parenting, I have to say. You learn on the job, but I suppose it's kind of similar to sports capping. We'll start off with the Premier League. Martin, we did, we covered this in sort of detail. I'll stick with sort of the main, obviously some of the main markets. If you've got any sort of like different ones, then let me know. But Premier League, obviously Premier League winner was a main one discussed. Manchester City looking incredibly strong there, 1.57. Liverpool are number 2. Quite a few people actually quite fancy sort of Liverpool as that sort of darker horse, or the challenger for the title, so to speak, and definitely has the value at the 4. Do you think this is really Man City's to lose, or would you sort of take a stab at those odds of 4 with Liverpool?
I think the good thing with Liverpool is that you can back them each way. So all major bookmakers will give you a third of the odds if they finish second in the table. So yeah, you get your money back if they finish second, which I think is a really good insurance policy on Liverpool, because I really do think they're going to get a top 2 finish this time around. Man United just aren't looking likely at all. Chelsea have started the season well, but I still think they've got quite a lot of gaps in their team. Tottenham are looking good, but I think a lack of spending in the summer might come back to haunt them. So I do think it's going to be between Man City and Liverpool. Man City, for me, deserve to be the favourites right now. They've started the season in blistering form. But I think Liverpool will run them pretty close. They could well pip them to it. So I'd definitely go each way on Liverpool at 3-1, because then you get your money back if they finish second. But I hope a lot of people back them when they were 5-1 and 4-1, because they've only just gone down. So
Yeah.
you could be sitting profit if they finish either first or second. And yeah, I think it's well worth keeping an eye on that market as the season progresses.
Absolutely. And big man, remind us who are you on for the winner of the Premier League?
I actually took Liverpool. I think really the difference for Liverpool is going to be, I think they have improved significantly in the defense. I like that goalkeeper. Obviously, I mean, you look at yesterday's match against Palace. I thought Allison was terrific. I thought defensively they were tremendous. They have the best defender in the league, and that's just the truth about it. They have depth now. I think that's something they can match. Can they match it completely with Man City? No. Obviously, some of the people they bring off the bench, but you look at Liverpool. I mean, going out and getting guys like Jordan Shaqiri and Naby Keita. This is a team that I think can go toe to toe. They're now a team that can defend, and that's a scary proposition when
Yeah.
Liverpool can defend. We saw last year that was kind of an Achilles heel for them. Joe Gomez has turned into a great defender. Alexander Arnold is kind of come into his own on that left side. I really like what Liverpool can give you. But for me, Natalie, we look at the top 4. You're really deciding on who can finish first, and then who can maybe sneak into the top 4. And if I can throw one thing out, I've talked highly about Everton. Is it crazy to think that at 16-1, they're not worth maybe a shot. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is a team that you look at the top four. I mean, United has all sorts of problems. Arsenal's obviously has some issues right now. They're kind of under kind of rebuild mode with a new coach. They have some great players, but they still lack in defense. Tottenham are obviously really good, and they'll probably finish fourth. But you can buy out as the season goes on and still buy out at a decent price on Tottenham. I mean, Everton's at 16-1. They made some wholesale moves in the offseason that really, I think, vault them in the top six. I mean, or top seven. If they can make one or two things go right for them, you never know in the Premier League. With the moves they made, I think they have to be a look maybe as a long shot.
As a long shot to win?
No, to get into the top four.
Yeah.
I think that, maybe there's an option there, especially with, Chelsea. Chelsea if I finish third or fourth. United and Arsenal, maybe you can leapfrog them. And who knows what we get with Tottenham.
Well, let's talk about United and their dismal loss over the weekend. Absolutely incredible. I told you if I was to back them, then they would lose, and they lost. I'm looking at not to finish in the top four for the Red Devils, priced at 2. I was shocked, to be honest with you. At one point, Bournemouth had a 2-goal difference. Martin, not to finish top 4, Manchester United. Who would you have in your top 4?
I think that looks interesting. Yeah, I would have to have Liverpool and Man City in my top 4, and I think I'd put Tottenham in my top 4 as well. Then I would say it's a fight between Chelsea and Man United to get the 4th place. Yeah, right now, looking at the way both teams have started the season, you'd have to go with Chelsea, wouldn't you? Man United just having a bit of a horrendous time with Jose Mourinho at the moment. It has real echoes of the situation he found himself in with Chelsea a couple of years ago, warring with the owners, warring with the board, didn't get what he wanted in the transfer market, started throwing his toys out the pram, and ended up getting sacked. I mean, he might not make it till Christmas, and then if he goes, that could throw the club into disarray. And yeah, they have finished outside the top 4 quite a few times in recent years since Ferguson left. Yeah. So it could be an interesting bet, despite the quality they've got on the pitch.
I know. Well, they were Brighton were up 3-1 at the 44th minute. Absolutely incredible. Jose Mourinho to be the next manager to leave post, 5.5, with Rafa Benitez at 7.5. Would you take that price, Martin? 5.5.
Yeah, it looks a good price. I wrote an article about this for Sportsbook Review just before the start of the season, and the odds have actually drifted out on him a little bit. I don't think he's going to quit. I think he's trying to engineer a position whereby they have to push him, where he gets sacked because he's annoyed them so much. That's generally the way he works, so he gets a payoff. But he is not happy that they didn't sign the players that he wanted to in the summer. I think he feels like he can't keep up with Pep Guardiola, and he's got a really intense rivalry with Guardiola, so that's going to be eating away at him. He'll want to move somewhere else. I mean, the dream job for him would be PSG, just winning the league year after year. Or he'd be angling for like the Juventus job or Bayern Munich or something like that, because it's been a while now that he hasn't won the league, and I don't think they're going to win it this season or next at this rate. So I think he'll want out of there. Looks an interesting price. The only question is whether a really team's playing really badly and they sack their manager before that.
Yeah. Do you? I asked you that question as well, big man, on the Premier League Futures show. Jose Mourinho, the prices drifting 5.5 there. I think you said you were staying away from that market, or have you changed your mind now? You've seen the recent performance.
I mean, it's hard to kind of avoid it at this point. I mean, I've discussed before my disdain for him as a manager. I can't stand him personally. I think he's an arrogant guy. To me, he kind of reminds me, in kind of his attitude of Arsene Wenger. I'm too good. You maybe can't get rid of me. Well, we're bigger than you. We're bigger than you. The club's bigger than you. It's not Jose United. It's Manchester United. I still think still think Neil Warnock has to be looked at. I mean, I guess maybe Cardiff will just accept the fact that they're going to go down and this is a one-time thing, because we all know Neil Warnock in the Championship is a good coach. But I mean, again, Mourinho has to be looked at this point. I mean, he's starting to anger people. It's clear that there are certain players in the team that have been vilified by him. I mean, look at people like Anthony Martial. I mean, they have a child, and Mourinho's pissed off about it. I mean, it's part of life, man. I mean, everybody has that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But Natalie, I have to stress, and this must be discussed. I think it's an absolute moral that everyone in this chat and everyone that watches this show goes to the books right now and bets on Cardiff to be relegated, Cardiff to finish at the bottom. This is an absolutely awful side. I mean, and I know people, well, big man, they drew on Sunday against Newcastle or Saturday, whatever it was. They are dire. They didn't have a shot on goal in the game. They're dreadful. They really have no business. They wouldn't even win the championship this year. They're a shit side, Natalie. They have no business at this league, and I feel like they might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen at this level. I don't think they get to 20 points.
Yeah, yeah. Well, talking one of our bets was Cardiff to finish bottom. Was to be relegated. It was 1.61. It's now 1.53. And then Cardiff to finish bottom, 2.88. The second favourite to be relegated being Huddersfield, who is currently 20th, priced 1.73. Any interest in that market, Martin?
Yeah, I wrote an article again for Odds Market on this one, and that was my favourite bet of the Premier League futures, Cardiff to finish bottom. I think Huddersfield can run them close. They did not look good getting taken apart by Man City at the weekend, but I think they've got a bit more quality on the pitch than Cardiff. Last time Cardiff came up, they spent too much money, got relegated anyway, and then when they went back down to the Championship, they were stuck there for a long time because they overstretched themselves and they spent too much money. So I think they're taking a different tack this time. They've gone up, they're not showing too much ambition. If they get relegated, that's fine. They're going to keep the bulk of their team together and maybe yo-yo between the two divisions for a couple of years and then try to establish themselves in the Premiership. It's really disappointing if you're a Cardiff fan to see the lack of ambition that they've shown in the transfer market this summer, when Fulham and Wolves have spent a ton of money to try and stay in the top flight. They've bought like 5 players and none of them have got any Premiership experience at all. It's almost like they're throwing in the white flag from the first go. Warnock's a specialist in getting relegated, so I think they're going down, definitely. I'm pretty sure they're going to finish bottom of the league. Huddersfield might give them a battle, but yeah, I'm on Cardiff.
Oh, poor Huddersfield. All right, yeah, Cardiff finished bottom, 2.88. Final question for the Premier League, obviously, is top goal scorer. And it seems like a 3-horse race between Kane, Aguero and Salah. Martin, I know that you love the scoring market, generally pull them up on our Best Bet show. Who would your money, how would you hedge the bets on those 3 players? Or is there one that stands to mind?
For me, I would leave Sergio Aguero out of it. He's gone into favourite, actually, after banging in that hat-trick at the weekend. But his injury problems just rule him out for me. He's got a terrible record of injury. If he was fit, Sergio Aguero would win the Golden Boot every season. He's only won it once, I think. But he's always out for 2 months here, 3 months there. And he's not reliable enough for me to back. I'm not sure if Salah's going to have quite such an incredible season this time around, whereas Harry Kane has just missed the consistency. So I would back Harry Kane all the way. I think you can get about 7-2 on him. That's 4.5. Before the season, I quite fancied a smaller stake on Aubameyang, though. He got 10 in 11 towards the end of last season. Arsenal are terrible defensively, but I feel like he'll get a few goals. But he hasn't started the season all that well, so I might still have a couple of quid on Aubameyang.
Yeah, and obviously
he could have won the goal scorer market this weekend. He had so many opportunities.
Well, listen, Kane,
terrible, wasn't it? He's paid a week.
Go on, Martin. Sorry.
Dreadful.
Sorry. Oh no, I was talking about the Arsenal game. Aubameyang's paid 250 grand a week, and I could have scored the chances that he missed. I think my son, who was just born, could have scored a couple of them. So sad times.
Well, yeah, Kane obviously ended his no scoring in August drought over the weekend. He scored a goal, didn't he? Final goal of the match against Fulham. So yeah, I think he's looking quite a likely bet. Who would you put your money on, big man?
I would go Harry Kane. I mean, he's just a guy that scores goals. I mean, I think that's really going to get him going. Obviously, September's almost upon us here, but he's already got a little bit of a head start. I mean, he normally doesn't even score in August, so we have a couple weeks for a couple goals even before he gets going. I mean, he's just a guy that scores goals. I'll consider and continue to say this, Natalie. My Richarlison bet, it looks good every week. Richarlison, 3 goals already. 67 he's at now. He was 100-1 last week. I know he probably won't keep this up, but he looks really good, this kid. I mean, he is really playing well for Marco Silva. It won't continue, and the fact that he gets fouled at this point more than anyone in the league, you have to figure he's going to have a knock sooner or later, and we won't see him for a while. But he's looking good so far, Natalie.
Yeah. We've got a Bazillionaire says Salah, the one-season wonder. Interesting. Bundesliga now. I'm going to take a look at that. Obviously, zero value. Bayern Munich. I don't even have the odds. I just know there's no value. 21 points ahead of second place Schalke. I'll bring up the odds, but they're low. There is value though without Bayern Munich, with Borussia Dortmund coming in at 1.83. I would just be a little bit nervous to put my money on a team that came fourth. Leipzig 7, Bayer Leverkusen 8, and Schalke 8. Big man. Without Bayern Munich, who would win?
I would probably say, I don't know. I still like Dortmund, Natalie. I mean, I'll be really honest with you. I'm not a gigantic fan of this league from kind of the ground up, but you look at what Dortmund has. I mean, obviously, up front they're really good. Look at the midfield: Axel Witsel, Marco Reus up front, Pulisic up front, Goltza. This is a great team. I mean, look, none of these teams are going to beat Bayern Munich because, look, I got to tell you, I think they're a team that I'm going to take to win the Champions League. They are obviously terrific as always, but I'll actually let Martin have at this one. I'm not a big Bundesliga, Natalie, fan. I'll be real with you.
Martin, are you a big Bundesliga fan? We bring it up on the best bets. What value have you found in Bundesliga futures?
I'm not a huge Bundesliga fan, to be honest. I just think it's like one of those leagues where Bayern Munich just cruise to the title every year. Every summer they buy up all the best players from their rivals and strengthen, and no one has the clout to keep up with them. RB Leipzig showed a little bit of ambition, but they seem to have fallen away. Sold Keita to Liverpool, and they haven't really invested too much since then. I wouldn't back Dortmund to finish second. I think they're a bit unreliable. Obviously, Michy Batshuayi got them out of trouble towards the end of last season, but he hasn't extended his loan. It's difficult. You look at teams like Bayer Leverkusen and Schalke, and I think they've got a bit more stability about them. This is the only league that hasn't actually kicked off yet, so we don't actually know how they're going to start. I quite like the look of Schalke, not to finish second, but I quite like the look of them to finish in the top 4. You can double your money on that. They finished second last season, and everyone was talking when we were doing our Bundesliga videos that they're going to get ripped apart in the summer. The vultures are going to come and pick off their best players, but it just hasn't happened. They've only sold one player to PSG, and they've done pretty well to replace him. They've reinvested all that money. So I quite like the look of Schalke to get top 4 at even money for me.
Yeah. Nice. And just talking to the Bundesliga, we were often, like last season, we were on the Leipzig train. I think we came off it a few times, maybe towards the end of the season as well. But how are Leipzig looking to you, obviously, from the transfer window, and then headed into this new season? Are we going to be on the Leipzig train again?
I don't know. I think they were very exciting when they came up to the top flight. They spent a lot of money. They had a lot of good young players. I don't think they've really kicked on since then. I think they had the surprise factor the first season, and they got a lot of shock results and held on to that position. They were relatively disappointing last time around. I think they're just trying to consolidate now as like a top 6 side without ever really investing a huge amount of money to actually challenge Bayern Munich. So for me, I think they'll probably be sort of top 5 or 6, but not really in contention. And I'm going to leave it a few weeks before figuring out whether I'm getting on that train or not. I think one thing in Bundesliga is that home teams do very well. So I'm always looking at the home team to win. Teams seem to have a dreadful away record for some reason. So I'll see if that trend continues this season, but give it a few weeks on the Leipzig thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Goals as well always seems to be on the topic on the table with when Bundesliga teams clash. Relegation market has some good value. A top goal scorer though, Robert Lewandowski at 1.57 with Timo Werner at 11. Some could argue if you combine the top goal scorer with another market, with another bet, could get some bit more value on that one. But relegation, you've got Klon 1.05. That's obviously the mighty Benevento of the Bundesliga. Hamburg 3.5, and then Mainz 3.75. Freiburg coming in at 5. Are you looking to any teams to be relegated, or is Bundesliga just not a market really you touch, big man?
It's not really a market that I ever get involved with. I normally just wait the a Champions League and I involve myself with Bayern Munich. I used to bet on that a bit more, but yeah, I would say I think you're dead on the money with Köln. They look like to be a team that'll be relegated this year. Kind of remind you of Cologne a little bit. Aren't they? Are they? Is that the same team? Cologne or Cologne?
Yeah, it's the same team. It's two spellings. Yeah,
they
Cologne,
stayed up.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way. They got relegated. No.
They actually got relegated last season, Cologne.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Nat.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry. I read it wrong. Yeah.
No, for me, Nat, it's not a market Bundesliga that I normally get in. I might have one or two bets on it a year, and that might be just because I'm not liking some of the other cards. But on the pecking order, Ligue 1 and Bundesliga are 4 and 5.
Yeah. Well, a market I know you do bet on, big man, is Serie A and Juventus. I know they're one of your favorite teams. They're 1.62 to win, which is quite interesting, obviously, because they narrowly beat Napoli. I think it was like 4 points difference between the both of them. 1.62 seems a little bit low for me. What do you think of Juventus's chances to win Serie A, big man?
I think they're a foregone conclusion to win this league. I mean, listen, there's some other teams that are interesting. You know, a team like Roma. You know, obviously they're always really good. You know, with a guy like Edin Dzeko, and you know they went out and I know they lose Alisson Becker, which is a big loss, but you still have some really good players. You know, up front and kind of in the midfield. But I mean, Juventus are just so strong. I mean, with Ronaldo up front now, you have Dybala kind of in the middle of that line. You Douglas Costa on the side so fast. Quadrado they retained. You still have Mandzukic who you can bring off the bench. Defensively, they're still really strong. The one concern defensively is, obviously a few pieces. Chiellini's getting older. The fact that you're able to bring Bonucci back. Bonucci just seems like a Juventus guy. He can go anywhere he wants, but it's kind of like me in Philadelphia. Like, I can go anywhere I want, but at the end of the day, I'm a Philadelphian. That's just what I am. It don't matter. Bonucci's a Juventus guy through and through. You look at how deep they are, Natalie. I think that's kind of one thing. When you look at the top teams in the world, all of them are deep. You know, they can bring guys like Matuidi off the bench, Barzagli, Emre Can, Bernardeschi, Benatia. They're just so deep, and it's just hard for me to envision with Ronaldo. And
yeah,
I don't see a team that's anywhere close. I think they run away kind of like Man City was able to do last week. And you know what, Natalie? People will point and say, big man, they almost lost to Chievo last week. Yeah, they almost did, but they didn't. That's what good teams do. They fight back and win games on the road. That's what they do. So, yeah, I think they run away with this.
Yeah. I was expecting a goal from Ronaldo, I have to say, in the season opener. He's a top goal scorer at 1.72. I think, Martin, we were sort of talking with the Best Bets crew at one point about sort of, I don't know, Serie A's got a little bit more exciting with Ronaldo, and it certainly has from me anyway. But I don't know, I was expecting a goal from him in the season opener. You know he likes the attention. 1.72 to be top goal scorer, Ronaldo.
I was expecting to see a goal from Ronaldo, and I was disappointed to see him not get on the score sheet because he is such a big game player.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, Juventus win the title every season, but no Juventus player has won the top goal scorer award for the last decade. The last player to do it was Alessandro Del Piero many, many years ago. The likes of Higuain couldn't even do it up front for Juventus. they're not that sort of team really. They're quite a defensive side. That's how they grind out 1-0s and 2-0s. I think they'll cruise to the title this year. I think they're far too good for all their rivals. But it would be really interesting to see if Ronaldo can outscore the likes of Immobile and Dzeko and Mauro Icardi. There's some really good strikers in that league, and yeah, I don't really think he offers too much value at the moment.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you there as well. I think Juve are going to win this one and comfortably, especially adding a sort of a striker to the team as well. They do often play defensively, so hopefully we'll see some more goals from Juventus. Marco Polo says Roma at 9 to win Serie A is awesome. I feel Roma and Juve are going to battle it out. I always kind of expect that, but Roma sort of just, for me, just fall short each season. Do you think Roma have got a chance of sort of getting in the top 2 this season?
Yeah, I really do. I think they've made some interesting moves this summer. Obviously, they'll be disappointed to lose their goalkeeper. I was also really surprised to see them sell Nangolan to Inter, but I think they've reinvested the money well. Javier Pastore was always really good at PSG, and he was unlucky not to get in the team. But they've got Neymar and Mbappe up front. So what are you going to do? They bought Justin Kluivert from Ajax, who's a very good player. Steven and Nzonzi should bolster up that midfield a bit. This is a team that made the Champions League semi-final last season, and they almost came back and knocked Liverpool out. So I think with Sarri leaving Napoli, that kind of throws them into a bit of disarray. And Roma are a bit more stable. So yeah, I think someone like Inter could challenge them. But for me, Roma in the without Juventus betting market looks really good at 3.75.
Interesting. So not Napoli. Big man, do you think it's going to be Roma that will give Juventus more of a run for their money than, or do what sort of Napoli did last season? Do you think it's Roma, or would you look at somebody else without Juventus?
No, I would definitely look at Roma, but I think we need to pull back and just relax a bit here. They're not going to threaten anyone. No one's going to threaten Juventus. They're too good. I like Roma. I like Dzeko. I think he's a guy, top goal scorer, that I'd be very interested in. Seems like every game, Natalie, this guy scores a goal. I mean, look at the first game, scored a goal. Kluivert's a nice little player up front. You bring him in. The midfield's solid. Pastore comes over from PSG. You obviously still have Nzonzi and De Rossi. De Rossi, what an amazing player. This guy's got to be close to 35, 36. I mean, this guy was on the 2006 World Cup team that won. He's still playing, kind of amazing. Yeah, I think they'll threaten maybe by Christmas, but I think Juve wins by comfortably. I think they win by 15 points, Natalie. They're going to run away with this division. I will tell you this. Martin and I were chatting a little bit pre-show about finding relegation odds for this group. I think you really have to look towards the 3 relegated teams or the 3 promoted teams to go back down. Empoli surprisingly scored 2 goals in their first game, but I think they struggle all year. Frosinone is a team that doesn't have the big guns. They kind of remind you of Cardiff a little bit. And then Parma. I mean, Parma was threatening to not even be in this league due to some financial fraud and stuff. But I think all 3 teams are incredibly poor. And we've talked before, Natalie, about this league and how bad the bad teams are. Remember Pescara? Remember Benevento? They've had some putrid teams in this division.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question. Was last season we had the mighty Benevento. And I was just wondering who takes the title this time, Martin, or is it still open for grabs?
It's still open for grabs, but I have very high hopes for Frosinone to be the next. There's always seems to be one team, doesn't there? It was Pescara that were just getting annihilated 2 seasons ago. Yeah, very, very high hopes for Frosinone. Very small side. It's not like in the Premiership when you earn promotion from the Championship and you get £175 million in TV revenue. So you can go out like Fulham and spend £100 million, buy players like Serie A and really go and compete. Doesn't happen in Serie A. You're just a small club. You were playing in the 2nd division last season, and you're still on a 2nd division budget, but you're against much better teams, so you just get knocked straight back down. And I'm thinking it could be Frosinone.
Yeah, I sort of noticed that as well, looking at the relegation markets. Even if you look at the Premier League, You've got some teams in there that were in the Premier League last season, rather than, if you look at sort of Serie A, it's almost like, you were promoted, but you're in the relegation market this season, until you earn your spot. So that's quite interesting. La Liga now, and we do have some value on this one. I think this is one of the ones. Premier League, I think, has got value, and I think La Liga has got value as well. Obviously, Barcelona to retain the title, 1.67. Atletico Madrid, I was kind of expecting, because I made a bet, Atletico draw no bet against Valencia. I was expecting them to win, to be honest with you. I know you were on the Atletico Madrid win as well. I was expecting more, just against how they dealt with Real Madrid. They're priced 8. Could they be a long shot bet here, Martin, to win La Liga, or is it the 2-horse race that we always start the season with, Barcelona and Real Madrid?
No, for me, it's not a 2-horse race. I think Atletico Madrid can very much gate crash that party. I mean, yeah, I thought they would win that game against Valencia as well, but Valencia were 4th last season, and a draw away from home against Valencia is nothing to be ashamed of. They're very, very strong at home. They went so many games on the bounce last season without conceding a single goal at home. We know how strong their defence is with Godin and Jimenez. They've got Jan Oblak in goal, who's probably the world's best goalkeeper. And going forwards, they're a lot more dynamic now than they were a couple of years ago. They signed Thomas Lemar in the summer. He'll go up front with Diego Costa. And keeping hold of Antoine Griezmann was a real coup, because he's their star player. And I thought he was all but certain to go to Barcelona at one point. So they're really, really good in defence, really good in attack. And they've got a bit of quality in midfield as well, with the likes of Koke. And I think they're a lot more stable and settled than Real Madrid. They finished 2nd last season. Quite like the look of them to finish 2nd again this time around. Again, you could go back them for a top 2 finish, or you could back them each way to win the title. You could go on Betfair and look at the exchanges and see if you're going to win and lay them, or go on a site like Sporting Index and get them on the spreads. There's quite a few options there, because they offer good value to get in that top 2 for me.
All right, interesting stuff. Obviously, Real Madrid without Ronaldo this season. It'll be interesting to see how they will perform. Big man, who's your favourites to win the La Liga title?
Listen, I think definitely Barcelona has to be my favorite. I mean, until we kind of take Messi away, I'm not gonna buy and think anyone can beat them. I think really up and down that lineup, they're terrific. I mean, Rakitic is great. You brought in Coutinho last year; he was very dynamic for you. You still have Luis Suarez. Goalkeeper's really good. The midfield's solid. But listen, Natalie, we have to stop forgetting. I mean, Natalie, it's quite amazing you didn't mention Real Madrid whatsoever in that piece. I'm hearing Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, get out of here. Beat it. It's Real Madrid, number 2. You lose Ronaldo, okay. But you still have a ton of great players there. You still have a great defense. Sergio Ramos, you might not like the guy, but he's a good defender. Nacho beside him. Marcelo, terrific on that side with Carvajal on the other. We forgot about the best player in the World Cup, Luka Modric. Isco and Asensio up front are young stars in the making. Gareth Bale, I think, is ready to assume a whole new role.
Yeah.
Listen, it's these 2 up front, nobody else. Beat it with Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid has a 5% chance to win this league. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Give me Real Madrid and Barca.
Yeah, I find it interesting as well what you said about Bale. I think we're going to see more from him this season without Ronaldo. Sometimes when you have quite a dominant player in a team, sometimes other sort of players that really can shine. We saw obviously Bale shine in Tottenham. Sometimes it allows them to come out of another stronger player's shadow. So I think it's exciting times to watch the other strikers of Real Madrid.
Well, I'll tell you this, Nat. This league is absolutely terrible. I mean, Flash and I could have a field day on this league. It is dreadful from 4 down. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous.
5 down. I like Sevilla. I like Sevilla and Valencia. I think, I don't know. I like La Liga, I have to say. Were you going to say something, Martin?
I was going to say that if Gareth Bale gets injured, which he probably will, Real Madrid are in trouble, because he's the one that's got to provide that spark that Ronaldo's absence has created a massive hole in this team. he has the quality to be able to fill it. He definitely does. But if he gets injured, they're kind of lacking a bit of thrust going forwards. Benzema's getting on a bit. They need to spend some money. They haven't got much time before the transfer window closes. It's really unlike Real Madrid. It's the second transfer window in a row that they won't have signed any Galacticos. They didn't buy anyone last summer. Ronaldo's gone. They haven't got Eden Hazard. I'm really surprised they didn't go for Mbappe or Neymar. Don't know what's going on there. They're lacking a bit of superstar quality. This is a team that you're used to seeing go out and buy the best players in the world, and they haven't done that for a few years now. Be interesting to see how they get on under a new coach. Obviously, they're the favourites to finish ahead of Atletico Madrid, but I'm not 100% sure. I think Barcelona cruise to the title in Spain.
Cruising to the title, 1.67. We also want to talk about relegation markets in the Premier League, and there is quite a bit of value, but it seems that this market is wide open. And I think with what Big Man was saying, or continuing on with sort of saying that it's a terrible league, I think there's a lot of sort of, I think that's why the relegation market is so wide open. I think we've got some great top teams, but some, it's up for grabs, shall I say, those relegation spots. What were you going to say, Big Man?
Yeah, Natalie, again, and unfortunately, there are listeners that have selective hearing. It might be time to go out, some of you, and get hearing aids. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I have no issue with those top three. They're very good sides. Everyone below that are not good. Okay, Sevilla, decent. Valencia, all right, maybe they're decent. But in the Premier League, they'd be 10th or 11th, just like Leicester, just like West Ham, all those teams. I don't think it's a league that's very good, other than the top four. It's dreadful, frankly. People need to understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying the league's bad. Those teams are very good in Europe, some of those big boys. And I love Barcelona and Real Madrid. I'm just not ready to say, until they Atletico knocks off one of those teams, I have no interest. Real Madrid, we have to stop sleeping on them. Some people have fan takes, and they want to look at it from a fan perspective. I don't think Atletico Madrid are as good as those two teams. Unless they prove that, then fine, I'll give it to them. But the league from a whole, everything below number 4, they're dreadful.
I would push it further down, to be honest with you. I would say there's some poor teams in Premier League as well. It would be kind of what would you say on that, Martin? How far down which teams? What would you say about La Liga?
I think that the Premier League is a lot more competitive than La Liga. The top teams in La Liga are obviously the dominant forces in Europe, but I think you get more of a sense in the Premiership that anyone can beat anyone on the day. Whereas in La Liga, I kind of get the impression that teams like Barcelona are just going to go and steamroller the opposition on a regular basis. Right. Again, I think it's because the wealth isn't distributed around in the same way that it is with the Premiership these days, with a lot of ambitious foreign owners coming in, spending a lot of money at teams like Everton, and just the way the TV revenue is split doesn't seem to happen so much in Spain. It's a bit more of a democracy in Spain. But big teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona have got all the fans, they've got all the money, so they go out and win all the games.
No, I totally agree on that one. All right, guys, Ligue 1, actually, quickly. It is the top 5 Ligue 1. Now, this is one that I don't follow, and I made a couple of bets as well in the Best Bet show, and they let me down. So it's a tough one. You've obviously got, you've got the favourites, PSG. It's what for me, this is the league that maybe more sort of what Big Man was sort of saying is what I would think about Ligue 1. You have one dominant team. And not much others get a look in. And just to look at the outrights here, PSG 1.11, Lyon 21, Marseille 26, Monaco 26. The 5th favourite here, Bordeaux 501. I'll wrap up this one quickly, but has anybody got any bets here that they like from Ligue 1? I'll start with you, Big Man.
No. I mean, what a joke. I mean, 1-9 to win a league. What a joke. I mean, it's really pathetic. I mean, this league is downright disgraceful. And people want to knock the Scottish League, one of my favorite leagues. People want to knock that league. At least there's Rangers and a couple others. But, I mean, you even look at the top 3 goal scorers, all PSG players. It's tough to find value in this league, Nat. I really think week to week, just looking at maybe trying to get handicaps for certain teams, and I have nothing on this one. Maybe to be relegated, look at teams like some of the ones that came up. But you look at that one team, Rams or Reims, whatever it
Yeah.
is. They had a big win over the weekend
Well,
that I
yeah.
believe someone was on, I think.
That's right, Stuart. Was because I was gonna say my tips for Ligue 1 would be come to the Best Bet show and follow Stuart's tips from Tipster HQ. That would be my tip for betting Ligue 1. Martin, what's your take on Ligue 1? Are there any bets at all that are standing out to you, or is this a stretch too far?
I never know how to say it either. I've actually been there a couple of times, but I always call it Reims, but it's actually pronounced more like
that's what I would
or something like that.
say.
I'm sure Stuart could
Oh.
tell. It's the very heart of the Champagne region, and they were playing some Champagne football at the weekend. That was a great bet from Stuart. Agree that it's a total monopoly in Ligue. PSG just got far too much money. The only way it's going to get interesting is if another oil-rich billionaire comes over and takes over a different team and makes it a two-horse race, and they start throwing money at each other. Monaco looked like they were going to do it at one point. They went out, they bought James Rodriguez, they bought Radamel Falcao, spent a ton of money, but then they just sort of decided to stop doing that. They actually won the title a couple of years ago, but you would be disheartened if you're a Monaco fan to see the quality of players that they've sold over the past couple of seasons. Mbappe, Thomas Lemar, Benjamin Mendy, Fabinho, they've all gone. But I think Monaco are still kind of masters of reinvention. Every summer they sort of buy a few decent players. So they bought Golovin, who was probably the breakout star of the World Cup for Russia. They got not a bad team with him, with Tielemans from Belgium. They got Stevan Jovetic. They've still got Falcao up front. I don't know. It's between them, Marseille, and Lyon for that second place. Obviously, PSG are going to be like 30 points ahead or something. I don't know. I haven't been too impressed with Lyon and Marseille's level of spending this summer, so I might fancy Monaco to get second place in the without PSG market. Get about 1.83 there. Not amazing value. Don't really think Ligue 1 is the one for good value, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I agree. Big man, do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, this is. I don't honestly, Natalie. I don't think I can make one bet on any of these outrights. The only bet I would make is like probably bet your entire bankroll that PSG win the league.
I think
Could I do that?
Even that, I don't think
let's
you're.
see what.
Yeah, even
Let's
that,
see
I don't
what
think
10
you're.
grand brings me back.
Hmm?
I can bet 10 grand. I'll win 11,101. So I'm winning $1,011. What a joke.
Yeah. All right. Just finally, just going to wrap up the show. Just going to ask if you've got. We've obviously discussed the 5 top leagues. Ligue 1, obviously, very quickly there. But there's definitely some value. Some people don't like to bet futures markets. There's more money to be made in the quick term. Rather than waiting an entire season to see your money come through. But sometimes it's like putting it away for some holidays. I always think of it like that. So, you get your money at the end, you get summer spending cash. So, big man, what are your favorite futures bets that you recommend we take?
Well, I think, my favorite is Cardiff to finish bottom of the league in the Premier League. I think that's a great bet. I think it's an even better bet that they get relegated. I mean, you can put what you want on that one. I think Juve to win Serie A is a great one. And listen, I'm going to go Barcelona to win La Liga until someone knocks them off. I'm just not looking to get rid of them. If you can find a bet, Natalie, I don't know if you can, but Leeds United to go up looks like a good bet out of the championship. I really like what I'm seeing from this group as the season gets started. I think the Leeds fans deserve it. I think they find a way. Bielsa's been a great coach for them to start the season out. If you can find a bet on Leeds to go up, I think they're worth a look maybe. I think they find a way back into the Premier League. And Leeds, some of the worst fans in the country, are back in the Premier League. That'll be exciting. If you can find that, jump on it.
All right, Martin, final question to you there. Favorite futures bets here for this season?
Yeah, Leeds to go up look good. They've started the season well. You can get about 2.6 on them to be promoted. You can get about 4.5 on them. Actually, you can get 5.0 on them to win the title. But sticking with the big 5 leagues, I also like Cardiff to finish bottom of the table. That's a good one. I quite like the look of a Juventus Barcelona double. Both teams to win the league. I think that'll happen. I can't see anyone knocking either of those teams off their perch. If you want a
Throw
little bit
PSG
more
in there,
value,
too.
put it, yeah, I was going to say put it in a fourfold with Bayern Munich and PSG. Then you've got 4 teams. You'll get, you'll more than double your money on that. And I think those 4 teams will all win things pretty comfortably. The Premiership looks like a 2-horse race between Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool in exchange looked good. Kane to finish top score looks pretty good. And yeah, kind of leave the French league well alone.
All right, wonderful stuff. There we go. Got to wrap up, guys. Tomorrow we've got an action-packed Wednesday. We've got Europa League bets. We've got Premier League punters and the best bet show on Thursday. I fly to Las Vegas to join the team Sportsbook review, and we are going to the Golden Nugget. Big Man is going to be there as well. The International Football Betting Conference (IFBC). We'll be streaming it live on our social media platforms. SBR Sport Picks want to follow. But big thank you to everybody watching. Best of luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Martin, Big Man, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, boys. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
No
guys.
worries.
Cheers.
Sure.
See you, Martin.